Can I wholesale from Cebu? Hey, that's the question I've been asking myself since I moved to the Philippines and everything fell apart, like making me quickly go broke. Last video I shared how I just made a different life for myself in the Philippines. I was just tired of working and bills and everything in America. But because I am an entrepreneur, did want to take advantage of the lower cost of living in the Philippines. So I moved in March of 2024, and things quickly went wrong, just went bad. Um, and everything fell apart, and I basically went broke, basically. Um, so I'm gonna recap some of my mistakes, what I feel are the most mistakes that I made. And I'm going to speak about briefly about some deals that I had recently that fell apart. And then I'll show people or explain to people what I'm going to be doing, and I'll show you also. So this can help other people do it too, because it is possible to make money wholesaling from anywhere in the world. All right. So as I said, my mistakes. My mistakes were not having a buyer's list, connectivity issues, and lying agents. Um, the biggest issue was really not having a buyer's list. It was not an issue when I was doing creative finance deals, but it really became an issue when I switched to doing all cash. All cash does pay more. You're basically just looking for fix and flip properties, and you sell them to fix and flip investors, people who who rehab properties, who fix up properties and sell them. Uh, and the reason is that I had such a, you know, I didn't really look for buyers, is because with creative finance deals, they're bought by investors who rent out properties, and those guys are online. So they're like easier to find. You can just post on certain places on Facebook, and they will go into the comments and ask about the deals. But cash is a little bit different. I noticed that cash doesn't really get a lot of attention online. Like those guys, you have to find them in different ways. So that was my number one mistake, not having a buyer's list. So um, that's my focus right now, is to build a buyer's list. You know what I mean? I'm just starting from scratch. I'm sitting down at the drawing board, redo the whole blueprint, and I'm starting over. Because as I said, I get deals constantly now on the regular. Like I've been in Cebu, I think since June. I know I said I had 5 or 6 deals. I think I actually had more, because I had some through from my team, from my number one VA Nina, that fell through as well. But I don't know. I've had a few deals since I've been here, so I need to build a buyer's list. Is what I'm gonna do. Before you begin, you have to know your why. That is a question you have to answer first. Why am I doing this? Why will I not give up? Why is failure not an option? Why I will not accept defeat? Why I'm going to be persistent? Why I'm going to keep trying? You need to know your why first. What is pushing you? What is motivating you? What is the reason you want to do this? Because working is easy. Investing in your business, wholesaling, whatever, can be something totally different when you don't see results moving out. So this is what we're going to do. This is how we start. Okay, number one, you go to Zillow. You go to Zillow and you just look up properties. They do have a filter where you can go and put in keywords. So you could put in rehab, renovated, etc. And properties could pop up. But I think it's just best. It doesn't matter. It depends on where you're going. Whatever city you pick, Nashville, Dallas, Pittsburgh, whatever. Go look at properties on the market, and you look at properties that look like they've been renovated. So one thing you can do is you go down on Zillow where it says price history, and it'll show you like when they listed the property or when it last sold. Like let's say someone bought it last November and now it's for sale. This could be a good indication that this may be a flip. Normally, people who do flips, they may try to hold a property 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months or so. You're not going to usually see people who own the property like a year and a half, 2 years, flipping a property, unless it can happen, unless it's like that person, like a big flipper, like they do a lot of flips, then they may hold them a little bit longer. But yeah, so look and see if it was owned in a short amount of time. See the age of the property. So, more than likely it'll be older homes. It could be 1970s, 1950s. It could be 1920s. It could be 2010. And so you just, you look at the property, you see it's been flipped. Okay. And this is what you do. After that, you take the address and you go to a website called propwire.com. Propwire.com is free. You're going to use Propwire a lot in your wholesaling journey if you choose the wholesale. So you go to Propwire, put in the address, and look up the owner. So when you get in on the owners tab, it'll show you the name of the owner. It'll show you the address, like the mailing address for the owner. And you can look down at the bottom, and it has a section for properties owned, like if they own more properties. And a lot of times they may have a few properties, so that's a good indication if you do see that. After that, you look at the name. So more than likely you're going to see a property that is owned in an LLC. Now it could be an individual owner, it could be just a person. That is possible, but really you really want LLC owners. These are like professional investors. All right, now you have the LLC, and you have the mailing address. Go to another website called opencorporates.com. Opencorporates.com. You go to Open Corporates, put in the LLC, and it'll give you like the registered agents, the people who filed for the LLC. So you look up that person's name, and what you do is you take the name and you're gonna go to either True People Search or you go to Cyber Background Checks. That's Cyber Background Checks or True People Search. You go to one of those, either one, or go to both if you want to. Go to those websites and you put in the name and you put in the address, or you put in the city and state that's listed for the mailing address. More than likely that will give you that person's, their name. Sometimes it can be hard to find people. It just depends. But on True People Search, if you go, they'll give you like, both of them will give you a name and more than likely emails, numbers and emails. But on True People Search, if you scroll down to the bottom, sometimes they'll have like businesses owned. They may have a list of LLCs or businesses. That's a good hack for you to know, because to make sure you found the right person. All right. Now, if you don't reach that person, let's say you're not able to get that person on the phone, you don't find the number or the email, whatever, right? You can reach out to the agent and try to see if the agent can get you in contact with that person. You can call and talk to the agent and say, hey, I have some properties in this area or whatever, and I was just wondering if your client may be interested in something. You could ask if they can pass along your information, whatever, and you could talk business with the agent as well. That could help you. So if you get the people on the phone, it's very important. One thing you want to know, this is a problem I've been having with California deals. I don't know what it is with my home state, but for some reason, California buyers act like they have a problem with on-market properties. In other words, properties that are listed on the market. A lot of them are like, we want off-market. We don't even look at properties that are on the market, which makes no sense. If the numbers work out, the numbers work out. From what my friend tells me, she does business in, I think, California, Vegas, Arizona, and Texas. She says Texas buyers do not care, right? So other places may not care. But when you get these people on the phone, make sure you ask them, do you buy on market, right? Do you buy on market deals? This is something you want to know. This is very important. You want to find buyers that buy on market deals. All right. Then you ask them, ask them what kind of properties they buy, like what's the max you'll spend on a property. Like they may say, hey, we don't go over 300,000, or they may say we don't buy $1 million properties. Some people may say, you need to know the square footage. How big of a property do you do? And they may say, hey, we don't go over 2,000 square feet. Some of them may say, we only want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. We won't do a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We won't do a 4-bedroom, 3 bath. You have to ask all those questions, and you need to ask them at how big of a renovation are you willing to do? Like, are you willing to do like a full gut, like just dirty, zombie, ugly houses like from The Walking Dead, or like, ask them, what type of homes they normally rehab, and then you need to ask them if you know if they have a problem with on market deals. That's like the main thing you want to know. That is the biggest thing. And ask them also how big of a percentage on ARV do you buy? What percentage of ARV? So let me catch you up. ARV stands for after repair value. So that's how you find your price. We'll talk about this later, but the after repair value is the price the home is worth after it is rehabbed and renovated. So some people may say, hey, I buy at 70% ARV or I buy at 50% ARV. So in other words, if they find a house and the house is worth $1 million after it's renovated and fixed up, they may say, hey, I need to be around 500,000. Just some people, they buy at a certain percentage. Some people buy at 70%. So you just want to know 70% is usually the standard that people go for. So if it's $100,000 house, usually you need to be around 70,000, and you try to wholesale it for like 75. Of course, you do factor in the renovation cost, but we'll talk about that later. All right. So after you have all that, now you have your buyers. You need to spend at least a month doing this. This is very important. The more buyers, the better. I would say, I'm not an expert on this, but I would say you need at least 30 or 40 buyers. Like, it would be nice to have about that many before you start really dealing with deals. The reason is because once you have properties under contract, you with cash, they usually only give you, a lot of times agents may say they want it to be done quick, so they want you to do everything in 3 weeks. So you have 3 weeks to sign the contract and have this property go through escrow, like for people to get paid. And they may only give you a week for inspection. So the inspection period is when you find your buyers. You know what I mean? You do not pay anything. The deposit, earnest money deposit, all this stuff will be paid by the person you're going to sell this deal to. You don't pay anything. We're not spending any money. This is the hack. This is the free money making hack that we do. So yeah. So you just for contrast, like creative deals, they normally take a 30-day process. Like we'll have everything done in 30 days, and we normally have like 2 weeks, like 15 days for your inspection period. So those deals you have like 15 days to find a buyer. All right. So after we have our buyers list, now we need to find deals. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to PropWire, and you will see everything on screen, all the filters you need to put in. But basically, we're going to do on-market deals, and we're going to look for owned, free, and clear. These are properties that have no mortgage. So properties that are on the market for sale, they don't have any money owed. And then also for owners, we're going to look up individual owners. We're not looking up companies or anything like that. We're looking up individual owners. That's what we're doing. So yeah, that's your list. Then you go to make your list. You put in your cities. Sorry, I should have backtracked. When you do pick, free and clear, on market, all that, you make sure you pick your city first. I'm sorry, I know you saw it on the screen, but I should have said that. Yeah, so then you just go to make your list. You download the list and you just open it. When you open the list in either Excel, Google Sheets, or I know I use Apple, so Apple Numbers, I believe it is Apple Numbers, and you have your list. So it will have all the information. You have to organize it and handle it your own way. The way I do it is the very first box, it has some type of, I don't know what the number's for. It's something that you don't really use. I normally put in there the status of the property. So I will put like off market, sold, no motivation, different things like that. Or if I messaged already the agent. So try to make a big list. What I did is, because I'm in Southern California, I currently have a list of like 1,600 properties. I haven't finished it because I've been sick for about a week or so. So I've been kind of laid off, and then plus I need to just stop and just make a buyer's list. But yeah, so that's what you do. Now you have your list. And you open it in Google Sheets or Excel or whatever, and This is all you have to do. Okay. So I do use scripts because I only text. I don't call. I do some calling, some agents because I am outside of the country. So what I do is, for me, for calling, I use Google Voice. So I canceled my. I had T-Mobile. I was going through a lot of issues with T-Mobile, and I just canceled it. But I ported my number over to Google Voice. I paid $20, so my number that I've been having for years is on Google Voice, and then I have another Google Voice number that I use for business. So yeah, I call through Google Voice and all that, and I have a script. So when I want a script, what I do is I go to ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, whatever you use, and I put exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. So I may say, using the best marketing and sales techniques, write a script for me to uh, email agents about an offer or whatever. I just tell them what I want. So I'll show you my examples of what I have. I have one for email and I have one for text. So me personally, what I do is I only message 5 people a day, 5 agents a day. That's it. I recently went up to 6. So every time I text, I send an email as well. Um, and and I get a high response rate. Now, sometimes they want to talk to me, but I've done deals where I don't even speak to the agent. Now, this is the sauce. This is the secret. This is what will help you out the most. A lot of times when you do cash, they ask for proof of funds. This is easy to accomplish. They have companies that sell them. There's one called Kogo Capital, Cogo Capital. And I actually have an account with them now. They sell like a 12 pack. I bought them like 2 or 3 years ago, and I still have like I don't know 5, 6, 7, 8 left. I really don't use them. One thing that Sam taught me, shout out to Sam Singh, he's the GOAT. Sam taught me a hack about how to always show my own proof of funds. Uh, I'm not going to put that in this video. This is what I will do. For everyone who shows me that they have followed me, you message me. Um, you could email me if you want. My email is in my located in my description or whatever, or profile, however it is. Show me that you followed me, you know what I mean, that you subscribe to my channel, and I will send you a video on how to do that with the proof of funds. This is a trade secret, and the reason I say that is because when I send out these messages, I always include my proof of funds. It's really just a snapshot of my bank account. And what I do is when they see it, they immediately respond. They immediately message back. You know what I mean? Because it shows that I have a substantial amount of money. And which is different from a proof of funds letter, because the proof of funds letter is like a pre-approved letter. Like it's like a lender saying you're cleared for such and such amount. Um, and it's easier to do it this way because it's just cutting through all of the um, the issues that can arise. Because some people say, "Where's your proof of funds? Where's this? Where's that?" Sometimes agents can be a little bossy because they deal with so many people, and they can be in get tired of things falling through, or people not being able to perform. So yeah, message me, send me an email me, or message me on Instagram. I'll put that on the screen. And you can message me either way you want, and I will send you the video that shows you how to make your own proof of funds that is guaranteed to get you responses. Yeah, so just so you know, I know it sounds fairly easy, like, oh, I just have to message 5 agents a day, that's it, right? Um, the thing is that it's not really that easy. Well, let's say for me in LA, because I'm dealing with such a vast area. I'm doing like 4 or 5 different counties in the LA, Southern California area. There are going to be a lot of properties that are like very expensive, been renovated, sold. Like I said, how I told you I label my list. So it's not uncommon for me to spend like an hour and a half, or 2 hours doing just these 5 or 6. It can take that long for me, for doing Southern California, because I have to, like, I could just go through. I may do, I may be on like 200, and like from 200 to 206 maybe also, and then 207 to 210 may be like off market. So just be prepared that it could be a little bit of work, even though it doesn't seem like it. Um, but yeah, that's it. So now, do you wait for they usually respond. The agents usually respond and say, "What's your offer?" It's it's a thing about sales that's basically like the person who makes the first offer loses in negotiation. But I have gotten deals without having to do that. I think you kind of like tilt the balance when you show that you have a substantial amount of money. But I do try to get them to give me an offer price first. Um, and just so you know, when you're dealing with on market deals, it is best that you have the price significantly less than the list price. So if a property is listed for like 500, and if you run the numbers and it's like, oh man, 460 will work. I can get this for 460, and I can wholesale it for 480. That's not gonna work. If it, you know what I mean, like you need to have it like $100,000 less, or you have to really, really get it down. Yeah. So yeah, you have to get it significantly down. Like so, just to speak about some deals, not to brag, but so I had a property in Castaic, right? And the property was on the market. I forget the price, but let's say it was on the market for 800,000. I got it under contract for 700,000. The ARV was around 850 to over $1 million. So I believe with that property we had a $30,000 assignment fee that me and my friend would have split. And the crazy thing is in Castaic, they had the wildfire. It's like so it's so ridiculous, like the circumstances of that, because we had it sold. A guy told my friend, like, I'm going out of town, but I'll buy it as long as it doesn't burn up, like joking, because the area was in, it's like in Canyon Country in LA County. um and then the next day the fire started. This is like about 2 months ago. It was all over the news, right? And not the Altadena Palisades fire. This is a more recent one. So yeah, so they burnt up all around the property. The property didn't burn up, but the buyer wouldn't buy it anymore, so we lost that deal. Um, so then recently we just had a property in just now the other day we just canceled one in Indio, and that's by Coachella and Palm Springs, low desert, for people who are not really familiar with Southern California. Indio, we had a mobile home park, had 14 mobile homes, and you could place about 8 or 9 more homes on that property. So that property um, was going for 1.3 million. That's what we got it for. Our assignment fee was $70,000, and the issue with that property was the agent told a lie as usual. He lied. He said the rents could be raised. We investigated, found out the rents could not be raised until 2040 or 2041. So that killed the deal. We have 4 buyers. You know what I'm saying? $70,000 assignment. Me and my friend would have got 35,000 apiece. And let me think. One more. Yeah. So another property we had was trying to think of ones that just beyond our circumstances. Well, that's enough. But yeah. Anyway, things happen. Like I said, those deals were sold. Um, and things just happen, that beyond your control. Sometimes they do happen. But um, just to clarify also, and inform people, anyone who builds a buyer's list, and if you build a Southern California buyer's list, like if they buy in Los Angeles County, LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, and Orange County, right? If you build a nice buyer's list and you have 30, 40 buyers, you can get some of my deals and send to the buyers. I will, you know, we can partner up and do some deals. I don't have a problem doing it. Anyone who does the work, builds a buyer's list, and reaches out to me, anybody who takes action on this information, and we can split that fee. Like if you had a buyer that says, hey, for that mobile home park, you know what? I understand we can't raise the rents right now, but let's just go ahead and put those, 9 or 10 more mobile homes on there. We would have split the 70,000. We would have took 35,000 a piece. All right, so yeah. So, but anyway, back to what we're doing. So, So when once they respond, you need your offer price. You find your price by uh, comping the property. You have to find the after repair value. To me, I'm not gonna cover comping right here. You can actually go on here and find out how to comp yourself. Since you have access to PropWire is free. I suggest people go look up PropWire videos on how to comp because that's the tool you're going to be using, how to comp. But essentially, what you do is you find like properties. So you try to find properties built within the same time frame. Let's say if they're built like in the 1960s to the 1970s, um, around the same size. If it's 1,500 square feet, try to find another home that's like 1,500, 1,700 square feet, or 1,300 square feet. If it's a one story, another one story. If it has a pool, another house with a pool. So you're not going to compare a home that has 3 floors to a house that's 1 floor. You're not going to do that. But you try to find similar properties and you see what they sold for. And you try to find properties that have been fixed up. And you try to see what they sold for within the last 3 to 6 months. And you try to find 2 or 3 of them. And that gives you your offer price. So if you have a home that's on the market for, let's say it's on the market for $300,000 and it needs like $50,000 worth of work, and you look up and you see that the ARV of these properties is, let's say, the ARV is 400,000, right? So you already know, like, okay, I need to be below 300,000. I know this sounds a little difficult, but there are calculators that help you. So this is what I'm going to do to help people. I'm going to give you the video to get around proof of funds. This is actually like a lethal weapon when it comes to sending out offers. I send it out with every time I message the agent. I attach my bank account with it. I'll send you a comping cheat sheet so you know how to comp. But I would, like I said, I would go watch videos on how to do this myself. I would, or you can, reach out to somebody if you're knowledgeable. Like if an agent does respond to you and they want to offer and you need help, you can reach out to me for help. Or there are Facebook groups of people who are experienced wholesalers who can help. You can easily go to Creative Finance by Pace Morby, his group. It's about like almost, I think, close to 200,000 people in that group. Make sure you find the right one because there are fake groups that use his name. But yeah, I will send you the video on how to show proof of funds. Because if you message me through Instagram or email me, show me that you subscribe to my channel. I will send you the comping cheat sheet. I will send you a calculator for wholesaling. Basically, all you have to do is put in the square footage and you put in the ARV, and it will give you like the offer price. It can kind of tell you, and it'll give you like an estimate of what the repairs will be. Yeah, so I will help people. I will help you with that. If you message, this will give you a head start on how to do this. And as I said, if you build a buyer's list in Southern California and you want to try to, make some money on my future deals, hey, contact me and let me know, and we can do business. I'm not above that. But yeah, this is what I'm doing. So yeah, once you have an accepted offer and you have your buyer's list, you already know what to do. You just send it to your buyer and you say, are you willing to pay? How much would you pay for this? You can just ask them how much you can pay for this. Where do you need to be at? See what they say. And they can ask you, what is your price? You can tell them your price. They may actually change it. If you find buyers you feel like you really bond with, you mesh with, and you feel like you're having a good, business relationship with, or you feel like you could do business with, it is really a blessing when an agent asks you for an offer price if you can send that deal to your buyer and ask your buyer, what would you pay for this? But you only do this to people you trust. One thing about it, I have come across buyers who are immoral. A lot of buyers have went around our backs, tried to go around our backs and speak to the agent. That's one of the issues I've been having as well. I really didn't touch on that, but yeah, a lot of these people who call themselves businessmen, entrepreneurs, self-made people are scumbags. They're straight scumbags. A lot of them try to go around your back and try to go to the agent. But yeah, if you feel like you can trust that person, that is a blessing. You can tell them, hey, what would you pay for this? And they will give you the offer price. You know what I mean? So you don't really have to comp yourself. They will do all the work for you. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. That's what we're gonna be doing. I'm starting over, anew. That's basically what I've been doing. I've been getting deals. I have closed a deal since I've been here. Get deals all the time. You know what I mean? The thing about cash, and that's the real reason you need the buyer's list first, is because you don't have a lot of time to do it. Some of these agents will give you 2 weeks and 30 days, but a lot of them are like, the inspection period is too long. They want it to be less. So hey, that's what we're gonna do. Knock yourself out, do the work. Let's make some money. And I hope this video helps.